Borderlands just released their fourth entry of its critically acclaimed video game franchise. Personally, Borderlands is one of my all-time favorite video games, but the series hasn't been fondly looked upon as of late. So the burning question with Borderlands 4, is it fun? Is it good? And ultimately, did the series redeem itself? I'm Raw, and I'll tell you my thoughts about Borderlands 4 and the series of unfortunate events that predates it. So without further ado,
3, 2, 1.
for those who haven't played the games, Borderlands is a video game developed by Gearbox Software and published by 2K. It is known for its blend of first-person shooting, action RPG mechanics, unique comic book art style, and lovable main cast. You play as a Vault Hunter, a treasure-seeking mercenary on the chaotic planet of Pandora. As a Vault Hunter, you seek mysterious alien vaults rumored to contain powerful tech and unimaginable riches. Each Vault Hunter has their own unique character classes, custom with distinct abilities, which can further be tailored to that character's skill tree, enabling a wide variety of playstyles. You can race to unlock these vaults solo dolo, or as a team of 4 with friends or randoms. But the Vault Hunters aren't the only ones looking for the fortunes of the vault, as other factions and opposing forces also seek to attain these riches. So you find yourself battling bandits, corporate armies, and just about anything you could imagine. So as you can see from the brief overview and the content on screen, essentially this game is just a Mad Max looter shooter, which is something most people would say. Although it may appear as such on the surface, the game does a great job establishing itself as its own recognizable universe. For me, I actually started with Borderlands 2 and then worked backwards to the first game, and let me tell you, I absolutely adore this game. So much to the point where it's in my top 10 video games of all time. And that's just not me saying that from just some biased point of view. This game won Game of the Year, back when developers actually put that on the game case. Borderlands 2 just did everything right. The lineup of Vault Hunters had allowed for attractive gameplay with varying levels of command depending on what character and skill trees you decided to invest in. The story may be one of the most engaging plots I've played, with the antagonistic force being the mega monopoly Hyperion Company and its owner, Handsome Jack, being equal parts humorous and menacing. But the best part is Gearbox nailing the looter shooter element of this game. I'm talking about from the guns, shields, character mods. They can all either be straightforward or lean more into the obscure, quirky, or complex. The loot and drop system is straightforward but far from mundane, as the game rewards you accordingly. This is most notably seen in the legendaries. The Affinity Pistol, Northfleet, Conference Call. Farming these boss fights and getting these legendary drops was a part of the experience, and it felt earned and not too tedious. And that was just the end game. From start to finish, Borderlands 2 was solid in all angles, and even had some interesting DLC too. Till this day, I still have my original account back from 2013. And I frequently revisit the world from time to time. After playing the second, I decided to try out the first game, and it's obviously not as good as the second, but I see it as a solid debut for the series, even though, I played it out of order. The first game defines the world of Borderlands, while the second one builds upon it. So when the third game was announced back in 2019, I was hyped. But when the third game dropped, I was disappointed. And I know this game is generally seen as good based on the Steam reviews and other gaming news outlets, but hot take, Borderlands 3 is not that good of a game. And also, I don't understand why this game is so highly favored now, because I swore that everyone had the same opinion as me when this game released. So why do I believe this game isn't as good as the majority makes it out to be? Well, you see, Borderlands 3 suffers from overthinking. They either added new features or reworked a lot of aspects that made the game cool, but they did this to the point where it didn't feel fresh nor familiar. In a world with rinse, wash, and repeat AAA titles, it's good to innovate and add a bit more to offer for your player base with a fresh experience to a familiar game. I just personally think Gearbox overdid it with the whole revamped weapon rarity system, which added a new tier of rarity to the mix, which in turn inflated the number of weapons in the game, adding an overabundance of epic and legendary drops. In my playthrough, I had gotten a legendary at level 9, and it was effective until I went against like level 18 enemies. This took away the strategic and grind aspect of the game. Usually early on, you would just compare your shitty weapons like commons and uncommons in hopes to even get like a rare tier weapon. But this game just hands out the rares and epics and even legendaries, making them feel like common and uncommon rarity. It was just too easy, almost like the game was giving me a participation award, which isn't like Borderlands, especially given what it took to get a legendary in the second game. Maybe instead of ruining the best part of the game in the names of shaking things up, there are areas where you could have expanded, like, characters that aren't recycled, less linear story progression, or general storytelling from this universe. All those things would have been great. Speaking of which, the plot was very shallow. The story suffered from immature writing, some cringe-worthy villains, and a general lack of compelling characters. The overall narrative and tone lacked depth, while forcing comedic elements way too much, whereas the other games were either organically funny or charmingly corny. There were numerous bugs and glitches on launch, which is an issue in all games for some reason, so I won't beat up Borderlands for that. But overall, the flat loop curve, lack of progression, and lifeless story beats made this game less enjoyable for me. So much so that I didn't even finish this game. To this day, I don't even know what the back half of the story is, as I just wasn't really even immersed in this world. Also, as a bit of context, this game did drop when I was in college, particularly the semester where I was taking calculus-based physics, so I kind of had to lock in. We didn't have ChatGPT back in 2019. And I don't know, but maybe they patched these things and made it better after I left playing the game, but I just feel like it's too far gone at this point. Really, the series went through a rough patch after Borderlands 3. I didn't even play the Tiny Tina Wonderland game, but it just looks uninteresting, so I don't think I'm missing much. They then decided to release a movie. Oh god, the movie. Along with 2K and Gearbox conducting some rather ambiguous business practices, the Borderlands franchise hasn't been seen in a good light as of late. But even with all the recent turmoil, I wouldn't say that this game specifically is make or break for the franchise. However, it would be good for this game to be a much needed W after a very daunting L. So with all the background information out of the way and being as objective as possible, how is Borderlands 4? I had the whole weekend to marinate on it, and I gotta say, I'm having a pretty good time. For starters, the Vault Hunters all seem interesting. I've been playing as the Siren for my initial playthrough, and the abilities seem so different from one another with a splash of the typical Siren traits. Also, the other characters look fun to learn, like the Gravatar or the Leif Erikson cosplayer. I can tell that this game has some replay value, especially if you rotate playing solo or with friends. Gunplay and the bombastic action is the selling point for Borderlands, and if it was bad, the game would just be, bad. Luckily for us, it's still what we know and love till this day, with all the interactions being directly influenced by your Vault Hunter's action skills and how you coordinate as a team. Now, let's talk about the loot system, which was my biggest contention with Borderlands 3, and it's definitely not Winnie Hutz Jr.'s like that game. With the amount I played so far, the loot system definitely feels more reminiscent of Borderlands 2, which the devs directly said was the goal for this game. It feels more fair and forces you to understand your kid and analyze what's best for battle, which in turn makes the game feel way more challenging than the third. So with all things considered, with the Vault Hunters, gameplay, and the loot system, you get an experience that's equal parts exciting while still posing some adversity. It took me a while to get back in the swing of things, which made it more fun to relearn. Also, the game is visually appealing with the iconic Borderlands art style. Though simple, I can tell that the graphics were focused upon, and it's just cool to see any series that's fairly old evolve its world with modern day technology. This is, however, the game's biggest downfall, at least at the moment, because the game looks cool when it's not having a stroke. I'm playing on PC, so I think the details are a bit more noticeable, for better and for worse. People say, well, it's an unoptimized Engine 5 game, so what did you really expect? But I'm running some pretty respectable system specs, so it should just play fine. But again, this is not something exclusive to Borderlands. Many games have this issue on launch. Plus, the day one patches and subsequent patches should fix this, so we'll see. Last and certainly least, the plot. Now, I have not finished this game, but I have a general idea how the story is going to play out, because it has the same exact plot as all the other games. And maybe it's because my frontal cortex is finally developed, but I have come to the realization that some games just don't need a compelling plot. I mean, come on, we've got 4 games plus some spin-off games. We understand what the game needs and what the game do not need. It's Borderlands, it's not complicated. Just make an outlandish first-person shooter with some RPG elements, cool weapons worth the grind, silly characters, without doing too much. I'm looking at you, my guy. Now that doesn't excuse this game from having a rather pedestrian storyline, which is something I harped on Borderlands 3, so maybe I was a bit harsh. All around, this game did what it needed to do to be seen as redeemed, but there's still room for improvement. It got me reinvested into the franchise, so I say that's a win in my book. With all that said, I think Borderlands 4 deserves a smooth 7 out of 10. Hope you all enjoyed, like and subscribe. If you dislike, comment why. As always, Jesus loves you all. And until next time, folks.